Hi, Gail.
Hi, Lee.
How are you?
I'm fine, thanks. How are you?
Good. You're doing something in Skokie that I think may have impact far beyond the borders of your little suburb of Chicago. You've got three ballot measures on the ballot that are going to change the way that people vote and elect their representatives. So I want to briefly find out what's the first one.
Yes, so we have three ballot initiatives. Each of them will do something to expand the number of people running for election, as well as exciting voters and giving more choices on the ballot. So the first ballot initiative is for nonpartisan elections.
What's
Now,
wrong with partisan elections?
so that can be confusing because we know when we see regular ballots for national office, we'll see Democrat, Republican, Green Party, whatever. So, but for local elections, the issue is that it favors a particular party. So, for example, we have in Skokie the Skokie Caucus Party, which has been in power since 1965. And because they are the party in power, they are favored. They are actually listed on the ballot. It'll say a name and Skokie Caucus Party, and they automatically get listed on the top. So already it gives an unfair advantage if you are in a party. The other issue, in addition to preferential treatment on the ballot, is you don't know what the person stands for. So people can run on the party label. We don't know what the party stands for. We know that the Skokie Caucus Party says that they are Republican, Democrat, and Independent, but the individuals, we don't know who they are, what they stand for. They don't run for them on their own merits or on issues.
So, if your initiative is successful, will people not be able to list themselves as Democrats, for instance, on the ballot?
No, they'll just be listed by their name. So what it will do is it will mean that they will actually have to run on themselves. They'll have to tell people what they stand for, what their values are. And I should let you know that most of the suburbs here are the same. Evanston, Wilmette, they all have nonpartisan balloting.
Okay, let me ask you about the second initiative you got on the ballot.
Yeah, the second one calls for staggered terms. That might be the one that is the easiest to understand. So, what that means is that when people are elected for village board, they are elected every 2 years for 4 year terms and under what we're trying to do. What happens now, though, is every 4 years, the entire slate is up for office. So, or I actually use the word slate as though it were, a party with candidates, and that's what's happened. So when the combination of having partisan elections and non-staggered terms means you can have an entire party slate just come be the first six on the ballot because there are six trustees in Skokie, and that's that. But staggered terms means that every 2 years, half the board will be up for election. So that allows for new blood, more opportunities for people to vote. And also it puts the village board parallel to the park board, the library board, and the school boards. So that will actually help voter turnout in those elections.
So, that's more like the way the U.S. Senate is elected with staggered terms and different from the way the U.S. House is elected, right?
That's correct. But
Okay.
the house is every 2 years. So this is 4 years. So we have 4 years of no elections on the Skokie Village Board.
And what's the third initiative?
The third initiative is what we call hybrid representation. So right now, Skokie is almost like a city. We call it a village because of the type of government, but it's a municipality of 68,000 people, which makes it the 18th largest municipality in Illinois. However, all of our elected officials are elected at large, meaning all of them represent the entire village. But what's happened in practice is for almost the entire history of, since 1965, since the caucus party has been in power, almost everybody has lived on the northeast side of Skokie, which is close to Evanston. It's the one area that's majority white in Skokie. And it means that not only is it not representative of the demographics of Skokie racially, but it means that most of the village of Skokie has no representation. So under this hybrid system, what we are looking to do is take the best of at large, meaning having people like the mayor and the clerk and 2 of the trustees still represent the entire village. But the other 4, we would divide the village into sort of 4 quadrants. And each of those areas would be guaranteed to have 1 trustee that represents them. So it's basically a guarantee of representation.
I don't live in Skokie, but to me, what's exciting about what you're doing is that right now we're seeing across the country various efforts to restrict people's access to the ballot, to gerrymander, all those sorts of things. And in the rest of the country, everyone's telling us, vote for this person, vote for that person. What you're looking at is not just the individual to be elected, but you're looking at structural changes that will change the way that these elections are run. And sounds like your objective is to gain broader representation and more democratization. So it seems to me that approach is something that could have impact far beyond your borders. Am I right or wrong about that?
Yes, absolutely. We're so excited about it because, what's happened, the system that we now have in Skokie, you're probably not surprised to hear that we only have barely over 1 person running per open seat. I mean, imagine, that's like your vote literally doesn't matter because whoever's, there is going to win whether you vote or not. So what this does is it gives people a lot of choices. There may be 10 people on the ballot now running for mayor or trustee, and that's a good thing. And you're absolutely right. This is going against the grain of what we're seeing in this country, which is, a consolidation. It's almost like the way, businesses and corporations are. Everything is kind of consolidating and melding into just sort of 1 or 2 buckets. And here what we're trying to do is say, look, we're a vast region. I mean, if you're looking at the country, a vast country, vast interests, vast goals. And the other thing is we recognize that problem solving is best done when you see a variety of perspectives and people come together and bring their perspective to the table.
If people want more information, where can they find it, Gail?
They can come to our website, the Skokie Alliance for Electoral Reform, which is skokieelectoralreform.org.
And do you have a Facebook presence too?
Yes, we have a Facebook presence, Twitter. I think we have an Instagram as well. But we're a bunch of, a group of, we're nonpartisan and rather large.
What's the date of the election?
The date of the election, thank you, is November 8th. So it's a gubernatorial election. So we know a lot of people will turn out. It won't be like the spring elections where unfortunately we've seen only, on average 9% voter turnout for village board. I mean, that tells you something about how apathetic people are made to be by the system. But here we're a gubernatorial election, so we expect a bigger turnout, and everybody should go all the way to the bottom of the ballot because that's where these 3 referendum questions are going to be.
Thanks a lot, Gail.
Thank you, Lee.